I want you to talk about this one because you were kind of fired up again. Another local story. The emergency shelters that we've mentioned a few times that they're putting up, which is great. There's been some updates on what's taking place with those.
Yeah.
I thought you could maybe dissect that.
So again, for people who maybe didn't hear before, there's 2 emergency shelter. Well, sorry, it should be called like emergency temporary housing.
Yep.
One being set up on the Dartmouth waterfront and another being set up in downtown Halifax. And the municipality kind of overpromised on the timelines. Like, these will be ready in December, and of course they weren't. The Dartmouth one is now ready, and I think it's going to house 28 residents across 4 buildings, if I'm recalling correctly. And then the Halifax one is like 36 residents across 5 structures. So you're roughly about, I don't know, 65 odd people, whatever that is. The initial budget was $3.7 million. And now they're up to, they just realized that they've got to spend more money. It's going to be up to 5.9, and they're not all completed, right?
Yep.
So if you work that out per structure, I mean, we did the math on it. I don't know if you recall what it was, but effectively,
That was simply just for the one site too, wasn't it? It worked at the 385 a unit on the Dartmouth side is what they had spent. They haven't finished the Halifax side, so we couldn't tabulate that. But that number I think they're advertising too is just to get the Dartmouth side running.
Yeah.
And I think it goes around 4.9 mil.
So I want to stress a few things because the city got dragged, of course, on social media because that's just the place where, you
do that.
The souls go to die. This is a great initiative. They got it done. They made the mistake of what many early contractors do in their career, which is promise a date that you can't deliver. But the council is not in the business of building housing, so they had no idea. They put a date out there and they were wrong and they shouldn't have put a date. But whatever, they got it done. And of course, everyone dragged them and said, you screwed up. It's like, well, they tried to get it done. They took longer. But the thing I want to stress is I never ever want to hear anyone ever again say when a new building gets built, oh yeah, but are any of them going to be affordable? Just remember $385,000 per unit.
For mobile structures.
For modular prefabricated structures with no permanent foundations and let's just say not high-end finishes. If that cost the city $385,000 a unit, and granted, there's also structures being set up for security and for health, and this is also going to pay for security staff and resources and all these things. But if they could not get those done for barely under $400,000 per unit, don't be surprised when a developer says, this is what it costs for me to build this building, and that's why the rents are what the rents are. Because what is the mortgage payment on $385,000 approximately?
Like $1,800.
$1,800 for a commercial mortgage. Maybe more if you're including property tax or not. So that's why these units that get built have to cost $1,800 a month. And you can like that or hate that, but don't argue that it's not true anymore because you've seen it. And I'm not saying the city does the most efficient, and they probably could have, probably if that was all a private endeavor, it would have been done cheaper and blah, blah, blah. But there's also the support systems in place. Then there's also just the reality that that's what it costs to do these things.
It's not going to go from 385 to 150 because, you know what I mean? Like, there is a bit of extra because obviously it's city and the other items that are put in place, but it's not going to go down that much. I was going to say flashback to clip of when Tanner and I made the whiteboard with the numbers on it.
Oh,
and Tanner had
yeah.
a gun to my head. Yeah,
the hostage video.
Exactly, the hostage video. Check that one out because it goes over the numbers and it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and again, I'm not trying to beat up on the city because I think it's great what they did, but it starts to raise a few questions. Why wouldn't you take that money and just go out and buy or build an apartment building? Obviously, that would take 2 years.
Whereas buy existing old stock.
Potentially. Because what's an old building trade for? Like, we talk about deals like, if you get a smoking deal, you might be around like 80 a door. If you pay
smoking's 100 a door now.
yeah, totally. Like, 80 to
150.
150.
Yep. On market 150, you can get a building.
And everyone gets, and again, these structures, so like one structure might accommodate like 7 people.
Yep.
Right? So, but maybe you can go out there, and even if you're buying an apartment building and you get the equivalent of 3 2-bedroom units for the same price. If the province had the foresight to be building this stock and acquiring this stock and protecting the existing stock for the last 30 years, we wouldn't be having to pay almost $500,000 for a modular, makeshift, quote unquote, temporary housing.
And the maintenance on it's going to be atrocious. Just because the way those are set up, they're not designed to be like really weather resistant. They're going to get destroyed.
Yeah, I mean, I think those units will do fine, and I think they're going to be there a long time.
You want to talk about freezing pipes?
A long time.
Talk about freezing pipes. All the pipes are exposed underneath.
Yeah.
But anyways, we'll keep moving forward. But yeah, anyway, that was an interesting one to see those numbers come out and get an idea of like. I think it's good, like you said, it shows kind of how the private sector, how in the world they're supposed to get things done for really, really cheap, and additionally the timelines. But again, it's good that they're doing it. At least they'll be in place. It'll provide some housing. It'll also be a good spot for maybe medical stop-ins, even if you're not necessarily staying there and living there. I think they're going to have it open for people to stop in for medical help, which will be good.
Yeah, and this is the thing too. Everyone that was ripping them online, it's like, well, big picture, it's a good thing. They got this done. They got it done pretty damn quick.
Yeah.
All things considered, they paid through the teeth. But that's the cost of doing these sort of things. And then maybe people should start to understand that and get, like, if you want to talk all this crap about landlords and about development and about housing, maybe know what you're talking about. Well, here's a little crash course on what it actually costs to do these sort of things.
Yeah.
But then also it should enlighten people to the fact that, we now know what that costs and it was necessary in the moment. But big picture thinking, maybe we should be doing something else, like the fact that we could have built we could have built an apartment building with 60 units, right, for less per door. You know, even if you did micro suites, you could probably bang out new construction micro suites for around 200 a door.
Yep.
Just bang them out.
That's even where I'm like, they need to take some of the land that the city and the province have and just start throwing up some buildings. Like
Totally.
And they could just do a turnkey. Hire somebody like a Lindsay's or whatever and say, here's what we want.
Yeah.
Turnkey, spec, build it, let's go. They can easily pay the cash to do it. So I don't know. That's where we need to go.
You know, it'd be interesting. You know those Atlantic. What's the Atlantic Construction Podcast called? It's called Atlantic Construction Podcast. Yeah. Not very creative, guys, but no. Like, I would love to actually maybe have those guys on to talk about the cost of some of this construction stuff.
Some verification. That'd be good.
Also, this is a little teaser. We beat up on the CMHC programs hard, and I think we kind of started the media cycle on that one because they got picked up by CBC and it was everywhere.
Yeah.
The fact that, you know, even if you make these affordable units, they're still coming in, you know, best case scenario, $1,500, worst case, $2,200.
Yeah.
CMHC has heard that negative pushback and they are revamping their programs.
I'm not excited until I see it because I don't know whatever happens on this.
We're talking 50-year amortization.
Ooh,
we're talking
I'm excited.
95% of construction.
Ooh, I'm really excited actually. When's this coming
out? You can apply in March.
Thanks for watching that clip from the Master Keys podcast. Check out that full episode here. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and share our podcast.
When I was broke, I had rich habits. When I was broke, I had rich habits.